how you doing, everyone? Good to see you back here. Today, I've got a very interesting story to share with you. But before we dive into the story, I want to remind you I'm here every single week on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube. Come and check me out all the time. This goes live on YouTube and stays on YouTube as well. Today's going to be a lot of fun. And also, just let you know, my handle for my YouTube is MJS Photography. Make sure you check that out and subscribe. I'll be here all the time just for you, sharing a little bit about my life here in Tokyo, Japan, and sharing a photography lesson to help you become a better photographer as well. This past weekend, I went to a really interesting event. Love going to all types of events, but this one was very different. Now, before I dive into that, I spent a lot of time around the world's best athletes. Michael Jordan's hired me personally to photograph him and his family. I spent a month living in the Olympic Village, photographing all the top athletes in the world for the IOC. Super amazing assignment. But this was a little different. Let me dive into today's story. Today, I want to share a little bit that can help all of us throughout our life, no matter what business we're in. Today, I want to share some unexpected secrets to becoming a bodybuilder. So this was super cool. I really haven't been around bodybuilders in my life until recently. I joined the gym like 2 months ago and have become actually friends with a lot of bodybuilders and people who want to become bodybuilders. Kind of cool seeing how this all works out and learning about working out in a different way. So 2 years ago, actually 2 years ago in November, so not quite 2 years yet, I joined this gym, We Are the Fit, here in Tokyo, and it has been my home. I'm there 6 days a week working out. It's changed my life in many ways. And in one of those ways is meeting the different people at the gym, which has been fun. So about a year ago, I met Stefan Das, who is now a bodybuilder. Now, when I met him, he told me about a year ago, I want to compete in a bodybuilding contest a year from now. I thought it was a great goal, but the fact that he had that goal for a year in advance and start working toward it was really impressive to me. So I've watched him all this time train and change literally right in front of my eyes. So he has a partner he works out with at the gym. This is Fabian. I see them every morning. This is part of my morning crew. I'm here every morning. They're there every morning training. And I watch them go through the process of challenging themselves, pushing themselves to become better. And along the way, I learn by watching them and keep doing the same thing myself. So I've watched as Stefan has come in, trained religiously almost, and has never given up. In the beginning, he used to wear headphones the way I wear headphones, my Apple iPods. And I watched that change. But in the very beginning, he was wearing the iPods. Kind of cool. I think we all wear them because, we can listen to any music we want to as you train. But I also watched him, struggle and push himself to the limit as he's training. So it should not be easy. Nothing good comes when things are easy. You have to push yourself. I think that's a lesson for all of us, no matter what you're doing. If it's easy, maybe you're not pushing yourself hard enough because there's more inside of you. So I've watched Fabian and Stefan as they both train together, train to hit a goal. It's been wonderful seeing this. As a matter of fact, I think everybody in my gym has watched as we've all trained. And my gym is very different because it is a bodybuilding gym. People are there who are serious, who want to take their train to the next level. And definitely Stefan has been doing that left and right. So I've watched him as he's changed throughout the year. Hopefully I've changed also, but not as much as he has. But you might think that it's all about training in the gym, and it's so much more. When you're doing the same thing all the time, your body gets used to it. So I've watched him change his training constantly. It's never the same thing. It's always adapting and changing, always tweaking things the way we need to in life, period. It's much more to training than just doing the same thing all the time, because your body gets used to that and it stays the same. Now, this is all brand new to me because I just started working out 2 years ago, really. And before, I would go to the gym and do the same exercises over and over, and nothing changed. 2 years ago, that changed. And I've been doing different exercises as I've adapted. And when I find myself at a plateau, that's a sign to change and switch things up. Leg days, we all hate, but everybody has to do them. And even with leg days, you have to change the workout. So you continue to change and put stress on the muscles in a different way. Now, what's so cool about watching as Stefan has trained, in the very beginning for me, I thought that I had to do a lot of cardio and run on a treadmill. And for bodybuilders, they never run. They'll walk at the end of their workout. And it's like a pace where it's not really fast, but they'll walk for maybe 15, 20, 30 minutes. And this would cut the fat, but not lose any muscle. Very great thing for me to see, because before this gym, I had no clue about that. So now I walk after my workout every day. And for the first time in my life, I've lost weight and am now seeing more muscles showing than ever before in my life. I was doing it wrong before. And now watching these guys train has taught me to do things the right way. So back to Stefan. Let me just go back to where he is in his training. It's been wonderful seeing him. Saturday, he went for his first ever bodybuilding competition in Tokyo. So I got to go backstage, watch him prepare to train. He has a trainer, and his trainer is there with him as well to help him get prepared. But also, he's making himself mentally prepared as well. So there are a lot of people backstage, all competing, hundreds of people, as a matter of fact. And he's there cutting out the noise and just getting focused before he goes on stage. So before going on stage, he goes with his trainer to get a pump. And his trainer is making sure he is doing everything in the right order and the right technique to get the most stress out the muscles and pump the muscles before going on stage. This is also really great to see firsthand, and see everybody else around also as they do their own technique. But his was a little different. I watched him as he just spent time using small weights, just doing slow repetitions to really put blood into the muscles. Really, really cool to see. And yep, I'm there with my camera to document every part of the way. So here he is now about to go on stage. His coach is there with him side by side to making sure he poses correctly, just tweaking the pose a little bit. All this now, after training for a year, he's still getting coaching to make sure everything is just right, including how he does the push-ups. The push-ups weren't like you would normally do. They're like halfway. And he'd stop him from going the full extension to put more blood through the muscles. That was another great thing for me to see as he changed and got ready to go on stage. Now, this is Stefan's first time competing in a bodybuilding competition here in Tokyo. So here he is going on stage for the first time. And what was so amazing about this here in Tokyo at this super show was to see him go out there, compete against all the other competitors. And guess what? Go out there and shine and win. Not only win once, but win 4 times. He won 3 trophies and won the overall champion. So first time ever. And seeing him train for the past year was incredible. I want to make sure I could document this in every single way. So to see him train, to see him go through, make these changes, and then become the champion was absolutely incredible. So again, congratulations to Stefan. Fantastic to see, and see him go past all the hurdles. As a matter of fact, I asked him point blank afterwards, Stefan, what's the hardest part about training to become a bodybuilder? What was your hardest part? And what he told me was, it's the noise in your head, what you go through, what you have to do. Not the gym was the easy part. The gym is very much the easy part once you get into it. Once it becomes your habit, the gym is not hard. It's everything that happens after the gym. Eating correctly, not letting friends take you off your path, not drinking, all these different things that may take you off of your goal. It's also making sure you stay consistent with your training, with your eating, and with your mental space. All of that is super important to hear, and it was great for me to hear and witness firsthand. Now, I do want to take your questions because I know you may have questions. Feel free to ask any question you want anytime. Good to see all of you here today. Thank you for coming in from wherever you're watching from. Today's been wonderful for me to watch a building body contest, see it happen. So cool to see. Thank you guys for all pumping in. I did take a lot of photos. So I want to thank you for that question also, that comment. So as he trained, I would start taking my camera to the gym and documenting the process because I love telling stories. I love telling a full story. So seeing somebody just in the gym is one thing. Seeing them compete is another thing. Seeing them have a goal and make that goal come to life is fantastic. So I took my camera in the gym. Now, remember, as I'm doing this, I had no idea he's going to compete and win. I'm just documenting the process. The fact that he won 4 trophies kind of blows me away. And to have that documented, that process, and to see the fruit of him training was super, super cool. Love seeing you guys coming here all the way from Massachusetts, from everywhere. Thank you for coming in from wherever you're watching from. We love that. But now I want to go into today's photography lesson. Now, this is where we really get to really shine and learn. And I'm going to stay on the path of where the story was today, but turn that into a photography lesson because I wanted to actually take my friend and go into the gym and get into the studio outside the gym and really do what I do best. I want to photograph him in a way that could showcase all the muscles, but do it in a different way than I've ever seen bodybuilders photograph before. Because this is brand new for me, I want to take it and use all my training as a fashion beauty celebrity photographer and take that into the equation, put that in the equation. So let's dive into talking today about photography filters, because this is a big part of what really helps you enhance your photography. For those who don't know, my name is Matthew Jordan Smith. I've been a professional photographer for over 35 years doing what I love. Now, today I want to go and focus on something that we don't hear a lot about, but we need to talk about. So today I want to focus on using filters, lighting filters and gels to enhance your photography. Now, today we're going to unlock the color magic. There's a lot of different types of gels when it comes to photography. There are a lot of kind of filters out there. And today when you hear about filters, you think about maybe a filter on your camera, an app, maybe think about a filter that goes on top of your lens as a photographer. I want to talk today just about filters and gels that go over your lights. A very different thing. So on this picture, I have a gel, a color effect gel that's lighting her on the side that gives that blue color. And then I have a clean white light that's lighting just the face. So here I want to have 2 different types of lights, one that's neutral on her face and one that's a color enhancement to give that effect. All of that is super important. Let's dive deeper into this. So after the competition, I started photographing other bodybuilders. And a few weeks ago, a friend of mine competed in a bodybuilding contest like a month ago. And I wanted to photograph her in studio. So I took her in studio. And on this one, I didn't use any color gels. In terms of filters, I did use a warming filter, but just slightly. And there are different types of warming gels, color correction, and then there's gels. Color correction could be like adding a slight bit of warmth to a picture, like a CTO gel, color temperature orange, or even just an 81 filter, which is like a slight warming gel to give a little warmth to the image. I've done those forever, and I think a lot of people have. But as you see here, it gives a warmth to the image versus cold white light. This is slightly warm. But seeing this definitely shows the muscles, but I want to go further with this and change it up by adding more color enhancement gels to this. So this time I went in the studio with my friend who just won the championship. And let me first show you the white light. So this type of white clean light is just the light that gives you normal color. I can make it warmer or colder, and warmer would be like that, giving that warmth to the image, like an 81 gel over the light. You can put that over your lens on certain lights. Fairly easy to do, and we've done that a lot. But today I want to go deeper into talking about different types of lights. I do have a light that's just for the face. This is, again, clean white light that's just for the face only. This is a Pro Photo strobe, and I have an attachment on here that's just going to light just the face. So I want to light the same way as I go into using gels to add color. So this shot's done with 3 different lights, but I want to add a 4th light to add more color, enhance it, and go further than I did with this first image on the first bodybuilder. So I thought I'd add a shade of blue. But when you go to buy color gels, there are at least 50 shades of blue. And it's very hard to tell what blue looks like in your picture. If you go and look at the color swatch, it does show you all the different colors. But that does nothing to tell you what that color is going to actually look like on a person. How do you fix that? We've had this problem for a long time in photography. How do you tell what color gel looks like? So this is a picture of me before I began working out. This is actually during the beginning of the pandemic when I went through and we're first all locked down. And I said, okay, I'm stuck inside. What can I do? So I actually photographed every single Lee gel on the market and every single Rosco gel on the market, both the color correction gels, filters, and the color enhancement gels. I have all those photographed, and there are tons, as you know. I want to see what they look like on skin, on my skin. So I did this test. Took me an entire day to photograph every single gel, every single filter, and have it documented. So now I have that as a reference to use when I'm doing my images, and I use it all the time. So this is what my cheat sheet looks like for all my color gels and filters. This way I can see exactly what that color looks like, and I know what type of blue I want to use, or what type of warmth or color of any type that's out there. I know exactly what it's going to look like in my pictures by using my swatch that I have for helping find the right color for the shoot and give it the right feeling that I want. So the day after Stefan won, I took him in the studio, and the idea was to make him look like a superhero, a Marvel superhero. So here I'm lighting with a color enhancement gel. I'm using Rosco because the Rosco gels, in terms of Rosco and Lee, to me, the Rosco gels look much better. These Rosco filters and gels, I think, are true. There's no weird color that comes from them. And again, I've shot all the Rosco gels and all the Lee filters as well, filters and gels. So comparing the two, the Rosco seems to be the best to me personally. But I do have all of them, Lee and Rosco. Lee does have some different colors out there as well, but I like having the Rosco gels because I think those are much better. So here I have the perfect blue, I think, for this shot that feels more like a superhero, where I'm just having that color fill the shadows. So I have 4 lights now in studio. One light is just on his face, that's clean white. I've got 2 lights lighting from the back to give that silhouette and make him stand out against the black. I have a spot on the floor. I left that there for you to see. That white tape is to know where he is. So he is in the right spot in terms of my lighting. Yes, I lit this by metering every single light with a light meter, one by one. I turned the light off of all the other lights and one by one turned them on and measured each one so I know exactly where I want to be. And then light number 4 is the light that gives me that color, that gel, that blue, beautiful color to light his body and show all the muscles. This is the day after he won. And so he's cut here, but he's probably cut more the day before when he's competing. It's hard to maintain that for a long time. So he lost a little bit the next day, but it still, as you can tell, looks really amazing. Really, really cool to see. I want to take this and push it to the limit. So I want to shoot him as many ways as possible. So here I have that light and I can control the light. I'm using a sky panel. The RE sky panel has all of the Lee filters, all of the Rosco filters programmed into the light. So with that, I look at my cheat sheet, pick the gel that I want, dial it in, and bam, I have it right there. Now you can just buy the sheet by itself and use that one color, but I have all the gels, so I can use all the gels, any gel I want to get the right color I want for the day. Super easy to play around and see, and I loved doing this with Stefan and capturing this in a different way. Also, in terms of advertising, I think this would be a great way for an advertiser to use photography and show a different type of bodybuilding image, which is what I want to do. I've never seen one like this before. So I want to showcase these types of images. Excuse me. Time for my green tea. I want to showcase different types of images to stand out as a professional photographer. Also, I want to make sure that Stefan stands out as well, being a champion. So I thought about, okay, green reminds me of the Hulk. And how cool would that look to have this green on him, but not really all on his face? So I have white light on his face for the most part. And then in the shadow area of the face, I have the green. So he's like almost turning into the Hulk in a way. If you look at the image on the right, you'll see his back. There's more of that white light there. And then the gel part is coming just on the left side of his body to showcase his abs and his muscles that way. I love this type of lighting and having this type of control. And I love teaching this kind of lighting as well. For those who don't know, I do teach about lighting and how you can be a better photographer by having control over your light. All this comes by testing and training. The same way Stefan is trained to be a bodybuilder, we can train too. So here I've gone with a really, really super warm gel now. So in color correction gels, you have color correction and then you have color enhancement gels. I can go from any one I want to enhance color. Again, you'll see like clean white light on his face, and then the very warm, rich colors, almost like an orange on his body. So this is a very slight, but very warm, almost like the sun, like that end of the day sunlight, but warmer. So I love having this control of color and light and having fun in the studio, playing with lights, cameras, and yeah, this is all shot with the Nikon Z9 and Z8. I shot video as well this day. So I'm using the Z8 for video, using the Z9 for all the stills. Kind of cool to play around, and this is still not finished. I haven't finished these images. I'll pull out all the other stuff. And in black and white, it looks amazing as well. So even taking all this and turning them into black and white, they really pop and shine as well, because filters and gels do enhance your black and white. For those of us who shot film back in the day, I still shoot film actually, believe it or not, you could use those gels to enhance your black and white. Guess what? That still works to enhance your black and white. using gels and filters to get more depth into your black and white. Putting a red gel over makes a big difference in black and white. Putting a yellow gel over in black and white makes a big difference. I love having that control over my images, and I know you will too. So let's talk about this as you can take your photography to the next level. Here I am shooting from the back again. I love this one in black and white. I think it's so powerful and a wonderful shot. I do have that white light again still on his head, and you'll see as it changes and falls off to get all the body to show up this way. Very cool to see and play around with and get all of these images. You'll see the back light that's lighting him from left and right, the light that's lighting his face, that's light number 3. And then my color gels are still here to make the muscles pop out because that's all shadow. So all the shadow area is now standing out because of that 4th light. Very cool to see. I talk about that a lot. And as a matter of fact, this weekend, I'll be talking about this with all my students. I have a lighting course that I teach, and I teach them all these tricks and tips and go through it in major detail as we talk about lighting and having control over their photography. I give them, all my students, I give them my cheat sheet. So they have this as they train to know how to use a certain gel. I have given them all my cheat sheet. It comes with being a student of mine to learn about gels and filters and to find which gel or filter that they want to use in their photography. Before this cheat sheet, I thought it was impossible to find out what a gel would look like on a person. But I took that out of the equation, and I give this to all my students who are part of photography lighting course. This is how you learn to be a better photographer and grow. I have a weekly live session for all my students. We broadcast live every week for them. It's private, and that comes with being a part of the PLC family, photography lighting course. If you'd like to be a part of this course, learn and train every single week, the same way Stefan is trained every single day to be a better bodybuilder, you can be a better photographer by training as well. We all need a coach. The same way Stefan has a coach to take his training to the next level, I can be your coach to take your photography to that next level as well. Now, we're going to go and switch to taking questions from you right now. So whatever questions you may have, let them fly. Love seeing you guys being all here. Hi, Sky. Thank you for being here. I love seeing the questions pop in. This is great to see. Sky says, do you shoot with Nikon? Since I live in Japan, I have to say it the correct way, Nikon versus Nikon. Back in the States, everybody says Nikon because that's what you say in America. But living here in Japan is Nikon. So, and if so, why did you choose that over Canon? Please give us your story. And what is your voice in your photos? I love that. So I've shot every camera out there, actually. I shot Canon at one time. I shot Sony at one time. And after trying all the cameras, I went back to the first camera I ever used, which is Nikon. And I've been using Nikon ever since. I think everybody has to find out the camera that's right for them, that feels right. But for me, as a professional photographer, going out in the field and working at the level that I work at, putting cameras under stress, being in different situations, extreme cold, extreme heat, shooting thousands of images. Like, for example, at the Olympics, you're shooting thousands of images every single day for 30 days and transferring. And for me personally, the Nikon's the better camera to use, and that's why I use Nikon. I travel a lot. It goes through wear and tear, all of that. It stood the test of time, and it's never let me down, and other cameras have. So I use Nikon for that reason. That's my reason for shooting Nikon. Now, I know I've got friends who shoot other cameras, so I'm not going to say there's one that's great for everybody. You find the one that works right for you. And in terms of my voice in my photos, I think that is all about me showing how I feel. Your voice as a photographer is your personal point of view. I think if there's one thing I wish someone had told me at the beginning of my career, 35 plus years ago, it was to understand that as a photographer, you don't have to copy what somebody else does. You have your own voice, your own opinion, your own way of seeing. And all around you, you'll have other voices telling you what they feel. And that's fine. But you must listen to your own voice as a photographer. That's your fingerprint on your work. Somebody says, do Roscoe's provide extra labels for when you cut down the filters? Extra labels. So I'm not really sure I understand that question. So if you're cutting down the filter, maybe you're cutting it down, cutting the filter in half. So you're only getting half the filter over the light. Is there a label for that? I don't think so. I can with the sky panel. Let me go for example. So if the sky panel, the RE sky panel, I can cut down the intensity of the gel in increments. I can go from 0.1 to 0.100. As a matter of fact, and I love this question because as I shot those pictures, I wasn't shooting the RE with the gel on 100%. I did a test and first started off at 35%, but it wasn't quite enough. I went to 55%. So I shot all those pictures with the gel at 55%. Rox, thank you so much for asking that question. So all those pictures were shot with that gel at 55%, not at full 100. An unlabeled filter. You forgot what the gel was before I cut it. So let's talk about that. Let's say you want to find out what the gel looks like before you add, what the color looks like before. Before you do anything, you do need to have a neutral image. No gel whatsoever. So make sure I have this question right, Rox. You want to start first with finding out what is neutral before you add on any gel. So even for my test, my cheat sheet, the very first picture is a shot of me with the color meter, getting it to neutral. So everything's neutral. So you have to have that base before you add anything. So I have first a picture without any gel whatsoever, just to show a neutral image. Then I went through and shot every single gel, every single color correction filter, so I can get that right feeling. All of that was to make sure I had the correct color going in. Hopefully, I think that answers the question there that you're talking about. So let's see other questions here. Let me go through and just scroll through and see. Oh, now I get it. Roxy's saying piles of unlabeled gels. I don't know what they, now I get it. Yes. I had that same problem back in the day. So once upon a time, when I was buying gels, I would buy all these gels. I'd find the swatch. Thank you, Rox, for that question. I had the same problem before. I buy gels, you go to the store, you see the swatch number, the label, you buy that gel. Once you leave the store, you have no idea what gel that is. So does Roscoe make labels to put on gels? They do not, but somebody should, because that's a problem. Once you buy the gel, they don't have the labels on them. There is if you cut the gel, you'll lose that part on the corner, because there is imprinted on the gel the number of the gel. But if you cut it, say you want to use half that gel, you forget what that is. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Rox. Yes, you do have that problem of not knowing what color gel that is. Having the sky panel does keep me from having that problem, because I have all the gels there. They're programmed into the sky panel. I just pick that number and get that gel. So Rox, yes, I know that is a problem. If you cut the gel, I do think you should use a Sharpie to write down what that gel is on that gel, so you don't have that problem, because yes, that is a major problem. And I've had that same problem in the past, back in the day. One of my main reasons for getting a sky panel was about the gels and having access to all of them, all the gels, all the filters, all of that is programmed into the sky panel. So I can go to any color correction filter or any color enhancement gel just by plugging it in. So, and there are a lot of lights like that now today, not just sky panels. There are others out there that gives you that option. So look at those rocks in terms of having gels versus buying gels the old fashioned way. Because back in like the 90s, back in New York, that's what I did. And I had to use a Sharpie to write down what gel that is. And still, I couldn't remember what that gel looked like on a picture later on. So now I don't have that problem. And that's why I made that cheat sheet for myself to have that. I love these questions, so keep them coming in. A Sky says, what was the most difficult part in film photography? But now mastering film. So with advertising in photography back in the day, we had to shoot chrome or slide film, which is unforgiving. You have to be exact on it. With digital, you don't have to have that be exact. You can have latitude. That's one thing that we have an advantage of. Shooting digital today is like shooting color negative film. But when you shoot chrome film, you must be exact. And I think the most difficult part about shooting film was having to be exact and not having latitude. That was the hardest part back in the day. If you shoot color negative film today, black and white or negative film, you have latitude. So that part is not so bad. But I think that training of shooting film helps you become a better photographer all the way around, and mastering it for sure. And that will help you master photography even today as you're shooting digital. The way I shoot my digital today is the same way I shot film back in the 90s. All of that training, I still do the same thing. I still use a light meter to be exact. The only way I could get that shot of Stefan, the bodybuilding shot with the color and have that control, was to measure every light, know it, and then dial everyone in the way I want it to be exactly. That's that training. So I love that question a lot. Let's see other questions here. Rock says, I'm still using Ratten filters. I remember those. I do remember those filters as well. Let's see, what was my first camera ever in the 90s? So, wow. First camera ever was a Pentax Honeywell that my father gave me back in the days as a kid. That's my very first camera. Then I shot film with medium format. So I shot a Mamiya RZ camera, an amazing film camera, 6x7. I also shot 8x10, which is an amazing camera, but extremely expensive to shoot 8x10 today. Like $100 a sheet for film. It's just insanely prohibitively expensive today. But there's nothing like an 8x10 camera, and seeing that image. There's nothing like it. Film's beautiful all the way around. I love my digital and all that stuff, but yeah, a light meter and flash meter. Yes, I use a light meter and a flash meter. I use a Sekonic light meter and a Sekonic flash meter. I want to know my color and I want to know my exposure to the 10th of a stop. That's how you get exact color. And not only getting that picture, like the image I did on this past weekend of Stefan, that's not just for knowing what it's going to be in terms of my exposure for that day. Let's say a client sees that picture of Stefan a year from now and says, oh, Adidas wants to hire me to shoot a campaign and they love that picture. They want that exact look. I can use my light meter to get me exactly the same results 10 years from now. No guessing. So it's not just about getting that picture that day, but having consistency. So when clients hire you, you can give them consistency no matter when they hire you. So I love using it for that reason. Rock says he still has the RB 6x7. So there's two different ones, the RB and the RZ, both great cameras. I had the RZ. and loved that camera for a long time. It was great. Also, mine says, why do you choose Profoto lights over Godox in lighting? Great question. I know Godox is cheaper. As a matter of fact, I have a niece who's 22 right now and is into photography, and she's buying gear, and she bought Godox. And she asked me the same question. I know Profoto is more expensive, but you buy Profoto one time, it will last you forever. I have a Profoto strobe light I've had for 25 years. It still works, doesn't break down. I've traveled from New York, LA. Of course, I live in Tokyo right now. These lights have stood the test of time. I don't know if Godox will be that strong to last that many times. So you may have to buy that Godox light 3 or 4 times throughout the course of shooting a lot. Also, for consistency, I know if that Profoto light, if I get, say, f2 for strobe, if I shoot 1,000 frames, every frame will be f2. They will not fluctuate. Where other lights will fluctuate between f2, 2.8, 2.5, it will not be consistent. So as you're editing your film, you've got to go through and try to match all of them in post. I don't want to do that. I want them all to be the first image and image number 1,000 to be consistent all the way through. And Profoto, you're paying that extra money for that consistency. So as I travel around, bounce these lights through all conditions, they stand out. And I love that about those lights. So I pay the extra money to have that consistency. My lights are expendable. They get broken, lost, or stolen. I'm too I'm too cowardly to risk a dozen Profoto strobes. I hear you on that, but I do want to buy gear one time. I think if I'm going to spend my money for my gear, I want to make an investment that's going to last me for a long time. I don't want lights that are going to break on me, because they're going to break on you at the time when you don't need them to break. You're doing this big job, and that's when they go down, because that's how things happen. We all know that in photography. So I want the best lenses, the best cameras, the best lights, the best equipment, period, when I'm shooting. Let's say I'm shooting Stefan in studio. I'm using 4 lights. And all the lights I'm using, they are all expensive. You know, the ARRI Profoto, the ARRI light is expensive. The Profoto is expensive. And I get that. I know that. When you're starting out, use what you can until you can afford to buy better lights. My niece could not afford Profoto, so she has Godox. And she's starting with that to learn photography and learn lighting. That's great where you are right now. But you should advance and grow with better lights that will last you for a long time. I think that's my personal opinion on that. What's my best Nikon DSLR? Okay, good question. So in the DSLRs, the last one was the D850, and that Nikon D850 was incredible, is incredible. That's my favorite DSLR. Now I am spoiled, beyond spoiled, with mirrorless cameras. And the Nikon Z9, I've never had a camera like that in my life. I am beyond spoiled and cannot go back. Once you've seen the light, it's hard to go back, right? And the Nikon Z9 for me is the light. I love that. It's definitely the best camera I've ever used in my 37-year career. That camera rocks. Thanks for asking that question. I love you guys' questions all the way around. So thank you. Let me get back to that question about consistency with lights. So let's say I'm in studio shooting Stefan this past weekend. I got 4 lights. I had the studio booked for just 2 hours. I'm trying to get all these images done. Let's say I have everything set up and it's finally just right. He's warmed up and given me all the shots, and one light goes down. I need 4 lights. If one goes down, I'm kind of screwed. And that would happen at the worst time when you want your images to work. So You want to buy the best gear and you want to charge a higher premium because you are using the best gear. You don't want to, give away your talent or use the best gear you have and give away your pictures for free. Why? You're using the best gear possible. You are doing all you can to become the best photographer you can be. And you should charge a premium for your service, for all the years, all the training you've put into you. This is what you need to be successful. So don't give it all away, and don't skim because it will bite you in the butt at the time when you need it the most. I'm telling you this from experience. All right, I know I've answered a lot of questions there today. Let's see if there are any others I've missed there today. I want to thank you all for being here and letting me share the joy of photography today, talk about my life here in Tokyo as a photographer. Sky says, yes, you are correct on that. Yes, indeed, you want to have the best and charge for that because you deserve it. You put all this time into learning this craft, training, loving photography, being the best you can be. You should charge for that. Don't give it away. I don't believe in that. We'll go deeper into that all next month. As next month, it's going to be all about photography inspiration. All right. I look forward to seeing you all next week as we dive deeper into this conversation and take more of your questions. Come on back, subscribe to the YouTube. It's there for you. Just hit that button, subscribe, be a part. If you want to be a part of my PLC course, jump on into Photography Lighting course. You'll be a part of our beautiful family. You'll get specific training every single week from me personally, live. All right. Look forward to seeing you guys all soon. Thank you again for this great day. And let me share the joy of photography. Please share this channel for your friends for sure. I'll be back again next week. Be safe, everyone. Look forward to seeing you all soon. Time for more green tea. Bye.